ASMR looking at the camera. It's been too long. I've had a lot of ideas of things to do ASMR wise over the last couple of years, and I've come to the conclusion that I'm going to start semi-afresh here. So, as you can probably tell from the title of the video, I'm going to be doing trivia slash info about different albums, and I'm also going to do ones on films, etc, etc. Anyway, first things first. If you watched my last two videos from around 2 years ago, you'll see that my hair was significantly shorter, so if you don't, to all you let me start that again, to all you 6 subscribers, thanks for sticking with me. Okay, so couple of other things before I get going. I'm using my iPhone camera front facing. I appreciate the other camera is better quality, but I was not up for recording something and then realising it wasn't recording. But at least this way I can see there's a red, dial thing tell me it's still recording. And I'm recording the audio in the computer in front of me. Okay, enough of all that. Let me know what you think about lighting. I did have it really bright, but I thought this is maybe a little bit more chillaxed. So, this is Dirt by Alice in Chains. By Alice in Chains. I did a test run for this video last night and completely forgot that all my notes were on my phone and I had to stop halfway through. So now I've typed them up again and I've got them available, and I'll be talking about that very soon. Some very interesting trivia and facts that I did not know surrounding this album. So, let me read the back. So, the track listing is as follows: Them Bones, Damn That River, Rain When I Die, Down in a Hole, Sick Man, Rooster, Junkhead, Dirt, Godsmack, Hate to Feel, Angry Chair, and Wood. So, if you're not an Alice in Chains fan, or if you've never heard of them, or if you are new, some fairly down in the dumps type track title names there, and I will go into more detail about that very soon. So, I don't know why I'm out of breath. I'm just not used to whispering for so long. So, Layne Staley is on vocals and guitar. Jerry Cantrell also on vocals and guitar. Mike Starr on bass, and Sean Kinney on drums. And this album, the same as their debut Facelift, was produced by Dave Jerden, or Yerden. I apologise if I've completely butchered that. And what is that? Oh, and Alice in Chains at 1-on-1, and I can't read the other word. Yeah, okay. So that's the track listing and some very, very basic info there. So on the front cover, there is a picture, obviously, and it's of a woman in dirt in the desert, and I reckon from what I've been researching and looking up that the reason it's in a desert is because they spent some time in a desert before. Sorry, excuse me. They spent some time in a desert before recording this album due to some riots in LA. So that brings me on to the next part of our video. So I've compiled some notes surrounding this. Well, the thing is, with my idea of doing these sort of final trivia stuff, I don't want to be too biased. So, all I'll say is that this album I've listened to a lot of in the past year or so. I'm a very, very new fan to Alice in Chains, probably just over a year, but they've cemented themselves very highly in my music listening. So, here we go. Dirt is Alice in Chains' second studio album, and it was released on September the 29th, 1992, and it peaked at number 6 on the Billboard 200 and spent 106 weeks in the charts, and it had 5 singles, each of which had an accompanying music video. The album's duration is 57 minutes and 37 seconds. I did not count all that, I'm just having faith in my sources, which are Loudwire and something else. I should probably check that out. So, as previously mentioned, this album is produced by Dave Jordan, and he's also worked on some other projects with bands such as the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Brian Eno, Rolling Stones and Jane's Addiction, to name but a few. So, let's continue. The final track on the album, Wood, was written by Cantrell as a tribute to friend and late Mother Love Bone singer Andrew Wood, who died in 1990. It was also directed towards people who pass judgment on others. So, the death of Andrew Wood sparked the emergence of another band called Temple of the Dog, which featured the majority, if not all, of what would become Pearl Jam, along with Chris Cornell and potentially somebody else from Soundgarden. Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, Nirvana and Soundgarden, the giants of the Seattle scene. It's absolutely crazy the amount of solid lineups that came out of that scene. Rain When I Die, track number 3, I think. The lyrics were written by both Cantrell and Lane Staley about their respective girlfriends. Rooster was written by Cantrell about his father, who served in the Vietnam War, and he had the nickname Rooster. And the song became part of the healing process between Jerry Cantrell and Cantrell Sr., between their relationship after the damage the Vietnam War did to them as a son and father. Damn That River was inspired Bones is about mortality, and about how one day we will end up a pile of bones. Staley says the album has two concepts: dealing with personal anguish and turmoil, which turns to the use of drugs to ease the pain, and then later figuring out that that is not the case and the drugs do not help. Staley expressed significant regret about the content of the album, and in terms of, he didn't want fans to think heroin was cool or good or trendy by any means, and he'd sometimes have fans coming up to him who were high, and he realised that sometimes the content that they'd put out had the backwards effect of what they'd originally hoped for. The day they started, as previously mentioned, the day they started recording, the LA riots had also started. I don't know if it was exactly the same day or not, but it was certainly around the same time. During the tour for their album Dirt, the bassist Mike Starr was kicked out due to his ongoing drug addiction. Just gonna check we're still recording here. Thank goodness. Staley spent several concert dates on the tour confined to a wheelchair after an all-terrain vehicle mishap where he rode over his own foot. Staley wore sunglasses for the Rooster music video because he was high, and the director Mark Pellington thought it would be a good way to cover up, to kind of hide that. The at the very start of Them Bones was improvised on the spot by Lynn Staley. One of the engineers had heard him saying, or he had this idea for a certain thing to do at the start to kind of go along with the guitar riff. So yeah, that wasn't originally in the kind of the writing of the song. That was improvised. Dave Jordan, the producer of the album, who I think I mentioned already, worked on their other album Facelift, noticed a huge change in the personality and the character, is the format that I'm thinking for these videos. I realised that I've kind of gone right into this without much explanation, but yeah, I've got some ideas for my next ones to research and to do a video on, but this was that's probably better. This was All About Dirt by Alice in Chains, and I think this has inspired me to maybe go and listen to it after I've done this video. It's one of the ones that you can just listen to the whole way through and it ends perfectly, starts perfectly. I will say there's a bit around the middle that doesn't have me as much, but I think that's part of the whole process potentially. As a listener, you have those songs that kind of pull you back a little bit and the ones that psych you up a little bit more. So yeah, I'm going to remain as Lights Camera ASMR just because, well, I don't want to lose you 6 followers that are watching. Maybe in the future I'll change it, but who knows. I don't think Lights Camera ASMR is the most iconic or original name by any means, but we'll see. So, yeah, thank you very much for watching. I can't believe I've gone on for about 17 minutes here. Let me know if you've got any additional facts, trivia about Alice in Chains' Dirt, and let me know if I've got anything wrong as well, or if my sources that I've been using to research have glazed over certain things or completely got things wrong. So yeah, this is me moved into my brand new flat, and this is why I'm uploading finally, because I've got a bit of peace and quiet now and I can just get on with it. I've been saying for so long that I want to do an ASMR channel about either films, music or whatnot, so this is the start of the second wind, even though the first wind was only 2 very short videos. Anyway, thanks for watching and apologies for not